So this is technically podcast number 1 for Perpetua's Live Unbroken podcast. There is another first.
Tell the story.
There is another first podcast.
Tell the story.
So we have, which I'm nicknaming Big Dog's Tale.
Nice, I like it.
Which is all about the owner, Michael Price's story and how Perpetua started, which was going to be podcast number 1. Having some technical difficulties, kind of me having to learn how to do a podcast overnight in terms of like manage it all.
It ain't easy. It ain't easy.
No, there's been some trials and tribulations. But it will what I'll try and do is get up like a preview or something at the end of this one, like as a little trailer for it.
Nice.
And then
Walking Dead style.
You've done that, and Pricey did that. Who went right? I'm expecting this from the music. I was like,
minus the zombies.
No pressure. Okay, so this is actually the first podcast. This is the one that we're going to be leading with, and so my name, just to introduce, is Gilesy, otherwise known as Adam Giles, and I'm joined by my good friend and my coach, James Ozzie Osborne.
Hi.
Willkommen.
Yeah.
Bienvenue.
Thanks for having me, man.
So this is kind of the first official one, and we wanted to talk today. Kind of the theme was going to be about the fitness industry in general, and kind of you had some thoughts on it. And this kind of came about because we were talking about it on the tube one day, just about
the state.
Yeah, the state of the fitness industry, and you had some thoughts on it, and we kind of started talking about it. We're like, we should capture this. we should get this down on tape. This is cool. So that's what we're doing.
Yeah, good. How do you want us to start?
Well,
where do we start?
Yeah, I think that's an interesting topic, like kind of thought. Is like, where do we start? It's quite There's an array of. If you want to, let's start from the principle of, I am someone that wants to be healthy and fit. I've come from. You know, I did a bit of school, did a bit of sport, something like that. There's plenty of those people out there, I'm sure. If you're listening, sorry, we are under some arches. So if you don't know where we are under some arches in Battersea.
Pain train rolling by.
Exactly. And as Pricey says, the pain train rolls by, and Ozzie just mentioned. So we if you hear some trains, it's not our stomachs gurgling or anything like that. We are above, underneath a train station.
Cool.
So, yeah, let's say I'm a dude or dudette, a young lady or a young gentleman, and I've come out of, I don't know, school, or I work in an office, or I'm just a general guy or girl that's into fit, that wants to be a bit fit and healthy. There's so many options for me, right?
Yeah. It is it's a disparate and fractious industry. First of all, let's just start by saying it's an industry where the barriers to entry are small. And I think that's probably, if you look back through other industries and through history, that's probably a precursor to most troubled industries, or industries that have real issues, is when the barriers to entry are tiny, whether it's knowledge, finance, expertise and things like that. You're gonna come up with issues because it's an easy industry for people to get into. It's not an industry you have to work particularly hard to break into. Do you know what I mean? It's not an industry where you have to really earn your place there. CrossFit is the perfect example. A 2-day course, done. Bit of money to put down a deposit on a warehouse, done. Okay, we've got a business. Now we're working with people.
Yeah.
Are we building those people up, or are we damaging those people? I mean, you've got a 2-day course under your belt, and that is it. So, obviously, I love CrossFit. I think it's done some amazing things, but it's just a good example. It's an easy example.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I know like people like Coach Glassman have talked about this as well in terms of, at least they do put on a 2-day course, because let's face it. It is a good example. We'll come back to it, but like you could just say, if someone could see you and you'd be like, yeah, I do a bit of PT, and literally just get someone go down the park. There's plenty of these bar setups now where you can get someone doing push-ups, pull-ups. You can kind of. It's
not just CrossFit. That is just one example of the industry. I mean, there was an article that I was actually looking at with one of my clients, Lydia, today, in The Spectator, about some guys. I think it was based on 3 people who had basically designed a nutritional program and were selling a nutritional program to the general public. And they had degrees in history and art, all three of them. Nothing in nutrition, no qualifications, zero. They darted themselves. They'd seen some good results, and they thought, let's try and sell this. Let's package this up nicely and sell it. And they were making good money off it. But it turned out a lot of the information they were putting out there was quite harmful. That, like I say, that like CrossFit isn't the only one out there. Nutrition is a really, really good example of a place where the qualifications are so complicated. People don't really understand exactly what makes someone qualified or which body is qualifying who, that you end up just being a bit of it's quite easy to get sucked in and think you're getting some really good knowledge from someone who doesn't particularly have any qualifications, or you wouldn't consider him an expert in any other field if he'd done that kind of same level of training. And he's selling you nutritional programs that you have no idea whether that's going to be beneficial to you or not, or harmful to you. It's one thing. This is why it's such a big issue in this industry, because you're actually in danger of harming people. It's not just a case of you don't quite know what you're doing. The guy doesn't get a decent product, or he doesn't quite get exactly what he paid for. You can actually harm this guy, nutritionally or physically. Through nutrition or through personal training, you can harm this guy or girl. So I think that's probably one of the reasons why it's a good thing for us to talk about, and it comes up quite a lot.
Yeah, and it's something without talking strictly straight away about kind of what we do and about our box and about kind of the ethos that Pricey's talks about, and I think that we're all representatives of. But there are. We come from this is probably quite a nice segue. We come from two very different entries into CrossFit coaching. Mm-hmm. In some ways we're kind of similar. We both played forms of hockey. I played the one where you're allowed to punch each other in the face. You played the one where you run on grass. I know you're going to get me back at later, so I thought I'd get a jab in early.
Noted.
But I kind of came from doing a lot of stuff myself. You came from doing a lot within education, and then
we were both really active guys.
Yeah, but going through the PT, you went PT route first, whereas I kind of did the every kind of home type of fitness. Went to a Globo gym, did all the kind of DVD, and there's a number out there. I don't want to name them off the bat, but if you've done a couple of the ones recently, the recent time ones where you might have been using your floor and gym space and some dumbbells and stuff, then we've probably got a lot to talk about. Yeah, most people know what I'm talking about. But so I kind of went through that phase and then found CrossFit, and then actually ended up coming to you, and we ended up training together, and starting with my kind of CrossFit journey. Yeah. And then you kind of came from having worked in a separate PT industry. Yeah. And I think that gives us two slightly different perspectives on what's available out there, because it feels like every Christmas or every New Year, it's died down a bit, but there's a new DVD, and then some of the gaming consoles got in for it, where you could get effectively a DVD, but they use the cameras or whatever to track your fitness and stuff. So
I've just written a blog on this. This is something that's really, really something I'm very passionate about, and really strikes a chord with me for whatever reason. But you got to start by recognizing the power that you have in this industry as a coach, or as a nutritionist, or as a physical therapist, or as a strength and conditioning coach.
Yeah, and that's an awesome point in the fact that I think a lot of people, like you mentioned the three gentlemen before, are kind of in it for the fact that they see that they can make revenue out of it. Yeah. Right?
Yeah. That's where they start. They come into the industry and go, right, this is an easy industry to get into. They've come out of uni or whatever. It's like, what do I do? I quite like being fit and healthy. I played a bit of sport at school or whatever. I'm like, I'm going to turn my hand at this. How am I going to make some money? And for me, that's just the wrong place to start. It's an easy place to start, but it's completely the wrong place to start. You have to recognize the power that you have, which is, that is in an extremely good way. I'm not recognizing the power you have in a negative way, or that's going to scare people. It's an amazing position to be in, to be a leader in a community, and in a position where you can affect someone's life one-on-one. You can change self-perception, change how they view themselves, how they see themselves. Obviously, tons of physical byproducts, beneficial byproducts as well, in terms of lowering risks of lifestyle diseases and things like that, and actually making someone stronger, faster, just increasing their work capacity. But let's go to from a mental perspective, changing someone's image of themselves and how they value themselves and how they see themselves, and the incredible benefits that you get from achieving small goals on a weekly, monthly, yearly basis. We're in a position where we can bring that into someone's life, and that's an amazing thing. Now, if you're starting a business or a product from a position of how can I make money, you end up going down a route where you've got to be different. First of all, you've got to be different and gimmicky.
Yeah.
So you're not going, how can I help this guy? You're going, how can I make money? How can I be different?
How can I shout the loudest?
Yeah, how can I shout the loudest? How can I get some cut through? And you get to a crossroad where there's a decision of, I go this way and it helps someone. I go this way and I might get slightly more cut through and it looks a bit more different and it's a bit gimmicky and it might actually raise some eyebrows and get some attention. And they go this way. So they're already moving away from helping someone. Then they get to another one. It's okay, this way helps me, but this way gets me even more attention and does something slightly different. And they go this way again. And you end up with a product that things like 7-minute abs and the crunch aid and ghetto booty dance DVDs and things like that, where
I love those.
Yeah. I thought you might to watch, right? What to do?
A bit of both.
Yeah. Kill two birds, one stone.
Yeah, trying to build that, but you know,
yeah,
not all Stuart Diplock.
And that's when you end up with shout out to that guy's booty, by the way. That's when you get to that's where these things come from. You're an intelligent, rational person. You look into the industry and you see something like the crunch aid, or what's another good example? Just even things like 2-week beach body diet, 7-minute abs, those kind of, get rich quick, almost a fitness. Where have they come from? And that's where they've come from. They've come from a decision-making process which says, how can I be different? How can I get cut through? How can I sell? How can I make money? Instead of going, how am I going to actually benefit someone's life? How am I going to bring that person results, sustainable long-term results? And you see it all the time. Yeah.
I mean, I think that you're right. There's that crossroad, and then you can drill a bit further in the fact that there are some that really work. Like, don't get me wrong. I did a lot of going onto different YouTube channels, going onto different gym sites, and we're not kind of trying to slam anyone because there's loads of people out there doing their thing. We're just kind of highlighting a risk to it. People that people out there that want to get into fitness. Yeah.
No, more often than not, intentions are good.
Yeah.
Like, people aren't inherently bad. Intentions are good. They want to help people and get into that industry, but they are still coming from a place of, how am I going to make money? How am I going to make a business out of this?
You see that especially in the supplement industry. I mean, we'll probably go through that into another podcast, but just touching on it. And I was listening to a podcast actually today where there was a guy who worked for a supplement company, but they were talking about, there's so much variance. Like, one's bad, this one's good. Why are we good? Why are we not good? And then you kind of having to trust what they say they put in the packaging is on the packaging. Again, we've seen CrossFit athletes, MMA athletes, and more athletes getting tested and finding that where their protein powders being produced, that they've also produced a steroid, and then it gets mixed in, and there's all that as well as a minefield. So that within the industry, it's not just in terms of the training methodology that you follow, but it can also be the supplementation, or you said the nutrition. It's kind of throughout it, in the fact that there's a lot of guys and girls out there trying to sell product, and the quality of what they're selling ends up being affected by the way that it's produced effectively.
But the thing that I feel like I've woken up to recently, more than anything else, is I'm involved in an industry. We're involved in an industry where people make profit and people make money and people make a successful business by preying on general public's insecurities and by exploiting and exposing people's poor self-perception, and also just people's, how easily people are confused by this stuff like supplements and in the same way that the cliche is a mechanic kind of screwing over the guy that doesn't really know much about cars. Man, this is wrong, we have to do this, and this is going to set you back this much. you kind of don't know any different. You're like, okay, well, if you say so, man. And then, yeah, I guess in the same kind of way that it is quite a confusing topic for people.
Yeah.
They're quite easily led astray. But worse than that is that people, these 7-minute abs and 2-week beach body diets and, like you say, these get rich quick kind of fixes are preying on people's poor self-image. People look at themselves and think, well, I need to look like that guy in the magazine. I need to be like this. I need to do this. And I need it quick. I need it now. Maybe I'm going to clutch at straws and grab this. I'm going to pay for it.
Yeah.
Boom. Job done. Like, we've just preyed on that and it's made us money. So let's do it again. And you go back to the thing I mentioned earlier about the power you have to have a positive effect on someone's life. That's gone. Done. That's just dissolved away by the way that people work and the way that people prey on the insecurities instead of trying to build a healthy relationship with someone and then build them up that way.
Yeah, definitely. And it's just funny, isn't it? Because you kind of, it depends what their goals are as well as individuals. And again, this is a wider topic that we'll kind of address further down the line. But like, say my goal is just to look better.
Yeah.
And I find a program online or a DVD that makes me look better, then I've kind of achieved my goal. I think the challenge comes, and we've seen this, and I've experienced this, is the longevity of that. So how long can you sustain, or the sustainability of that, I should say, the sustainability of doing that fitness regime. Does it get stagnant? Do you get bored? Or does it just plateau and you end up being like, oh, I got to this point and then nothing? And then also, what's the health repercussions of that? And I think that's probably a bigger issue for me is, like, I've been there. I literally have done that DVD, felt great, got bigger. Loads of people are like, oh man, you look great. And I'm like, this is awesome. It's exactly what I wanted, you know? And I was in my 20s at the time, now my 30s.
Oh.
And yeah. Oh. And it's a slightly different thing. And then I found CrossFit, and I found this gym in particular in terms of the way that is more about trying to long term. And one of the things that was immediately apparent to me was my mobility was all kinds of poor, and my technique for some stuff was not where I thought it was. And you know, I've been doing a lot of training for a decent amount of time, and I was like, what the hell? Yeah, I'm not in a place I was. And
yeah, well, you're not getting any coaching through the DVDs, right?
Yeah,
there's no kind of, there might be a little bit of scaling, but there's no coaching. There's no checking form and making sure you're doing things correctly. There's nothing like that.
Yeah.
For a start, I don't know. Maybe I think me and Michael we share a lot of the same beliefs around the industry, and that is one of the reasons I came on board. I was on my way out of the industry at the time that I met him, and we shared a few coffees, more than a few, and really, really got down into it. And
well caffeinated.
He said a lot of things that really, really struck a chord with me and that I really bought into and that I was feeling at the same time. And I thought, no, you know what, this is, I can be part of the problem, or I can ignore the problem, or I can try and be part of the solution and get into the industry and try and make my own personal stamp on the industry. And that's what I decided to do. And that's why I decided to go down this route and stay in it and get on board with Pricey. And he'd say the same thing. I'm not sure how you can get into this industry and not want to work one-to-one with someone. And that's not going to make you huge amounts of money at first.
Yeah.
If you think about it, apps, magazines, DVDs are reaching mass population. That's how they're making their money.
Yeah, I mean, the internet's just like...
They're going broad. One size fits all. You can all do this. You'll all get the same results. You'll get great benefits, blah, blah. And I fail to see how you can get in, how you can get into the industry and sell that and be involved in that and actually still feel good about what you're doing and what you're delivering. Having worked one-to-one pretty much the entire time that I've been in the industry, and now doing classes as well, but very much on a one-to-one based foundation. That I feel really strongly about that. How can you go in there and sell this mass broad thing that's kind of this one-size-fits-all thing when that's just not the way it works, unfortunately. And again, you're preying on people's budgets and everything that I mentioned before. Yeah,
for sure. And I think that it's the cool thing about obviously coming here and to be fair, a lot of CrossFit gyms all over the world. The cool thing is that you come and you'll see that the coach is going to be in that class with you, or you know, one of the other coaches kind of jumps in, and it's kind of like it's like going to your favorite hairdresser or whatever and seeing the barber next to you getting his haircut or whatever. We trust in what we do because we do it ourselves. And I think that's the cool thing, is that from that point of view, and the reason that CrossFit's exploded the way it has, just kind of relating it back to what we do and the modality that we use to, elicit the responses that we believe in, is the fact that it works, and two, done right, the health benefits are exponential. That's a big part of the reason that CrossFit's out there. I mean, there is the flip side in the fact that, done wrongly can be very damaging, but and that comes back to finding a good gym and a good group of people. And that's kind of why we want to do the podcast, is to not necessarily, set the world to rights and right wrongs. I mean, if we can do some of that, that'd be pretty awesome.
And we love the sound of our own voice.
Yeah. If standing up at a whiteboard and shouting at people during an hour session, and sometimes talking to people, it's not all shouting. But yeah, if that wasn't enough, we wanted to record it and put it on the internet for everyone to listen to.
But it's relationships. Yeah. That's one of the reasons I love working with people. You don't get that when you're selling to a mass broad market. But one of the reasons I think that CrossFit's been so successful is that there's loads of psychological studies and reports that will say that one of the basic human needs is relatedness. Yeah. Is a relationship with someone else, is a connection to another human being. And I just think people were just crying out for that. And especially in the world that we live in at the moment, where it's all tech-based and there's
disconnected. Connectivity that disconnects you from another human
Exactly. Whereas CrossFit came in and suddenly it was just relationships. You were working one-to-one with someone and they were really getting to know you and how you worked and using that to help you adhere to a fitness program that was something really specific and bespoke to you. And I just think that people were crying out for that. Oh, this relationship, this is amazing. Getting to talk to this person. He really has a vested interest in me. And that is one of the things that we do so well at Perpetua, I believe. And you miss all of that. You miss all of that when you go broad and you look at chasing these results for this mass population. Yeah, financially it might reap you some benefits, but I just think that it all comes back to relationships. Yeah.
I think that you touched on it a little bit there, and it's kind of been an underlying factor of this entire kind of chat has been around the monetary value that people place on their own health. And that I think a lot of the time that people want to spend money on other things.
It's weird, right? Yeah.
I know. For me, I've always thought that, and certainly for the last, let's say 10 years, I've reaffirmed and grown with the opinion that the only thing I have carrying my conscious being, sorry, I'm going to get a little bit deep now, but the only thing carrying my conscious being around all the time is the vessel that carries it, the body. So if I'm spending money on all this other stuff that one's going to take away from that, generally a lot of people spend money on food and alcohol and things like that have a detriment to their health. And then I'm not willing to invest the time, energy and money into repairing that or building up a barrier to stop that affecting me, and I'm willing to spend it on other things. And I think you're kind of everyone's doing themselves a disservice, which is a bit crazy. It's kind of illogical. But at the same time, I think some people are willing to spend thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands of pounds on housing and a car and all this stuff. But their body, they kind of is where they cut the costs and the corners a little bit in terms of splashing out, and therefore they do a lot of these fatty things because they're affordable.
Yeah, I mean, being healthy and being fit and healthy and leading a fit and healthy life shouldn't be an absolute fortune.
No.
But if you want that one-to-one coaching and you want, because it isn't one size fits all. It is extremely specific to the individual and how they respond to certain exercises and foods and things like that, then you do have to pay a premium for that. And for some reason, and I'm not sure where it comes from, whether it comes from beliefs that we gain from school or whatever, just things that we're exposed to. We don't put a premium on paying for the services that provide us health and fitness, the same way we do for material things. And unfortunately, it's a little bit cliche, but it ends up costing us money in the long run.
Yeah, I mean, well, there's kind of
with the doctor fees and the medical fees.
A bit of a saying about that. It's like pay the trainer, personal trainer, and then nutritionist now, or pay the doctor later. It's like you're gonna if you're not investing a little bit in your health and well-being, you're going to pay for it eventually.
And it's tough to say that without sounding preachy.
Yeah, for sure.
Because the people that you're talking to, that hold the beliefs that we're talking about here, they're going to be listening to that and going, come on, man, that's like, they're feeling like they're getting preached at and spoken to. But
yeah, it happens a lot in loads of industries. I mean, like, you hear it from, there's definitely people, that have major beliefs around, I'm going to pick on vegans. I'm sorry, vegans, but I know there's some cool vegans out there. But there's a lot of them that are like, don't eat meat, and give you all the reasons, and you kind of become a bit desensitized to their message and just like whatever. And it can be the same way.
That's true.
In regards to fitness, I've certainly had conversations with friends and family that are like, whatever, dude. Like, and you're coming from a place of, I'm thinking about your health and well-being, and I like you. I want you to stick around for a while. And you see them, smoking, drinking, whatever, and not training and not looking after themselves.
Yeah.
And, you just know that they're just going to catch them at some point.
Yeah. And it's because there is this kind of confusion around the industry and around what's right and what's wrong, because so many people contradict each other, which comes from the trying to be different thing that we spoke about earlier. I'm going to be slightly different here and that, but that's going to and the messages they're just so different and disparate. And it's, like I said, it's so fractious for all the reasons that we spoke about before. Being fit and healthy and attaining this body that you see in the magazines and things like that is seen as this like holy grail. It's so difficult. It's so easy for you. You've got it already. Like preaching.
You've got the great genes.
Yeah, like you're healthy and fit as it is. It's easy for you. It's like seen as this really mad, difficult, hard thing. So why bother anyway? Why bother spending all this when there's a pure gym that's £25 a month that you're never going to use, and if you do use, you don't know how to use the machines in there anyway. You're going to be doing it, potentially doing yourself some harm. I think some of it comes from that as well. Yeah,
and we're not saying if you are just going to a regular gym and a global gym, or you're doing something at home, that you necessarily you should do nothing.
No, if it's working for you, then good on you. Something. Power to you, man. That's there's no right thing or wrong thing.
We're not trying to pick on individuals for doing those things. Like we said, I've been there, and we've certainly coached people that have done those things. And sometimes coming into an environment like this, if you've done some stuff like bodybuilding or just some weights and training in general, or any kind of training, it gives you a step up to those that have just come in from doing nothing for a long time. So it's not a problem, but what we're saying is that we're kind of highlighting the issue in the fitness industry and saying that, and not necessarily that we're, the cure, but we've got a lot of answers to help people in terms of getting there where they could be and should be in terms of their fitness journey.
If it's working for you, then that could be right for you. And brilliant. Like I say, more power to you. But there is no right thing for
and
someone.
I think that's
there's no wrong thing. There's wrong things. Sorry, there's no right thing. Yeah, he shouldn't be doing that. If it's working for him, then go for it. That's working for you and brilliant.
And I think that comes back to the point you made a minute ago about how you're saying that there's a lot of noise out there and differences of opinions. There are. I mean, like in any world, there are lots of differences of opinions, and certain things work for certain people, and then becomes hard because they're like, well, this works. Yeah. And that's why I always like the mentality. Again, I'll bring it back to CrossFit. The reason I like CrossFit is because there's the whole test and retest principle to it.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, try it. Yeah. What happened? What were your results? Did you get better, fitter, or did you stay the same? Okay, well, if you stay the same, let's try something else. And it's basically a constant, massive test. And I think that's what the health, fitness, nutrition, all of it should be. It's like, we'll try it, document your results, and then
and that's what any good personal trainer, CrossFit or not, that's what any good personal trainer would do when he writes you a program or she writes you a program. We're going to write this program. We're going to go through it for 4 weeks, 5 weeks. What are our results? Okay, we need to tweak this. Go through it again. What did you find? How did you feel? Okay, let's tweak this, and this. It isn't just you need to do this. Go.
Yeah. Here's the magic.
It's not working. Well, you're not doing it right.
Yeah.
Go again.
Yeah.
It is not that. And that's where these DVDs come from, because they are just this. And if you're not achieving those results or whatever.
Yeah, it's not taking into consideration your base, your fitness, any health. And this is the big one. What happens And this is kind of I'm going to pose this as a question for you, really. What happens if you have a physical issue, like a impingement, or, you know, like you've got an illness or anything like that, and you start training? Like, what's your thoughts on that?
How do you, training with the DVD?
Yeah, or
just training in general.
Just training in general, like doing something without a you know,
supervision
an expert.
Or an expert. Yeah, I mean, you just open yourself up to a lot of risk. I mean, in most cases, when you go into a health and fitness program, if you are someone that has the potential to be suffering from any kind of lifestyle illnesses that you don't know about, or injuries, or joint damage, anything like that, then it's always a good idea to go and get yourself checked out before you go into a health and fitness program. And even if you don't get yourself checked out, then hopefully you go into a place that physically assesses you first and assesses your range of motion in joints and talks through your lifestyle, and they can maybe pick up on the potential of injuries here or potential of illnesses or things here. It's like, okay, so this guy, I can already see this guy's obese and he sits down for 12 hours a day and he's listening to his diet, and it sounds like this guy is a real kind of diabetes candidate or whatever, or there's got to be some damage in his knees. He's been playing rugby all his life and now he's obese and now he's kind of not moving, and when he does, he goes running without warming up or warming down. Do you know what I mean? You can start diagnosing those things, but you just pick up a DVD and bang, start going into it. Then obviously you lay yourself open to risks of either compounding things, like let's say you've got tendonitis in your shoulders and you're already from an old rotator cuff injury as an ex-rugby player, blah, blah, blah. You pick up the DVD, start doing it. There's loads of kind of push-up, dips, all these sorts of things. And in kind of 3 months, you're like, oh, my shoulder feels busted.
Yeah. I
can't lift it up above you get to like here and it's like, all that impingement, you know, that classic. You see it in CrossFit as well.
Yeah, I mean,
it's kipping, swinging, everything like that. But then
you see it here when people kind of, you know, it happens everywhere. Like sometimes when people aren't honest with themselves as well, there's potential. There's potential for everywhere. I think it heightens, doesn't it, when you?
But if it happens when you're under supervision here, then it's got like the chance of it happening when you're not are even higher. Yeah. Especially if you're already going into things. And I like to think with the base and peak program that we have now, where we're trying to keep people in base when they first start CrossFit, so they can build up the joint integrity and the structural balance and things like the tendon strength around the joints and all that stuff that we'll talk about another time before they go on to peak, then we ward people away from that. But
yeah. And I think that's a real good point around. We definitely try and aid. I mean, we have a fundamentals program that, you know, isn't here's a set amount of PTs you must adhere to. We'll have a general amount, and we'll then make a recommendation based on that individual. Once we go through those you know, would it be 10, 12, 14, 20 if they need it, fundamental sessions and more. I mean, it is really down to the individual. We'll then make a kind of call about whether they're ready to then go into class. And you know, a lot of the people, and it's also, you know, a lot of the people have really earned their way into this, and it's a real sense of achievement going through those fundamentals as well. Yeah, it's kind of like I mean, I went through them. I thought, you know, like as I said, I kind of hadn't done all that stuff before, so it was good for me.
Let's just make it as simple as we can. Everyone's different.
Yeah.
So everyone's needs are different.
Yeah.
So unless you are going through a health and fitness program that is bespoke, how is it going to be efficient or effective for you?
Yeah.
I think it's that simple. So yeah, DVDs and nutritional value diets that you get prescribed over magazines and things like that. Yeah, they may work in the short term, but I question their kind of their integrity and their long term benefits. And it's just that simple because everyone's different. Everyone needs something slightly different. And yeah, that's the way it is. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of comes back to our Coach for Life philosophy about you know, trying to.
That's why it's important to get to know the individual, work one-to-one with them. Trial and error things, because what worked for your last client who was 50, obese, and had bad knees might not work for the next client who's 50, obese, and has bad knees, because everyone's different. So it's all about trial and error, and test and retest. And like one of the things that you really love about CrossFit, and I totally agree, is that there's that whole test retest thing, definitely.
So we talked about this figurative guy or girl, young or old, or getting off the couch, or been training for years. They're out there. They kind of they might have stumbled across this. If you have, awesome. But we talked about them at the beginning, kind of, you know, they've got all this noise. What would be kind of our recommendations for them if they're, I'm looking at a new training program, or I'm a bit bored of the one I'm doing. I just want to do something new. I've got all these people shouting at me, trying to grab my attention in terms of what I should be doing. What would be our recommendation for those people?
Well, first of all, I want people to. I like it when people really think about why they're having this change in attitude about health. Why they're suddenly thinking, okay, I want to get healthy and fit.
Yeah.
Like and dig down into that. Whether you do it with yourself or whether you go in and see someone and a professional and you speak to them about it and have a conversation about it. Dig into why do you want to become healthy and fit,
and be honest as well.
And be super honest with yourself.
Because I spoke to a few people and they've been partly honest, which is fine, but it ultimately you won't get what you want out of it unless you're 100% honest.
No, and I'll come on to this a point a bit later about kind of knowing yourself. But it's a powerful thing to know exactly why do you want to do this, because getting to the motivation as a pure sense as you can, whether it is, because a lot of people come here and you say, okay, why are you here? What do you want? What do you need? And they say, I want to get fit. I want to run a 10K. I want to lose a bit of weight. And you just leave it like that without digging deeper down into that, without really kind of trying to uncover their motivation for them. Then the chance of them adhering to that are slimmer. You dig down a little bit deeper and say, okay, why? Well, I feel a little bit lethargic. I'm not really enjoying the way that I feel at the moment. We're going to start a family soon, so I feel like now's the right time for me to try and turn things around and get in shape. Yeah. Okay, cool. Why? And it gets awkward. It gets really awkward. And they're like, well, what do you mean why? I just want to get fit. Just told you, man. Like, leave me alone. Just make me fit or not. You can help me or not. Yeah. I said, yeah.
I just want the abs, damn it.
Yeah. But why? I have a perception about how I should look, and that's what I want to achieve now. Why? Where did that perception come from? And you get further and further and down. And I've had conversations with people where they've come in and they just said they want to get healthy and fit. And you dig down, it gets awkward. You dig down a bit more, and it gets awkward. And it turns out they just want to set a really good example to their kids. They're a new mother, and I want my daughter to grow up seeing a really fit and healthy mum, and then empower her that way. Boom, that is a great motivation. Let's start there.
Yeah.
Write that down. Put that on the fridge somewhere. Let's use that to adhere to this fitness program, because adherence is tough.
Yeah, definitely.
And I just think so. That's the first thing I'd say. The second thing I'd say is go and have a relationship with someone. Speak to someone face to face. Even if you don't end up working with that guy.
He means like a coaching relationship, not a Tinder date.
Yeah.
I mean, go on a Tinder date by all means.
Go on a Tinder date if you want to. Yeah, fine. But yeah, go and speak to someone. Get face to face with them. And maybe you won't. Maybe that's not the person you'll work with first of all, because you've got to want to hang out with this guy or girl. Yeah. You've got to want to spend time with them. You've got to want to get on with them, because you've got to want to look forward to the sessions. But go and assess them. See if they know what they're talking about.
And a lot of gyms like us will do a free intro session to come down to a coach.
Most of them should do. Yeah, most of them should do. Ask questions about their qualifications, what they've learned, where they studied. Get to know them. Have some questions in your armory, and then listen to what they have to say. And if it strikes a chord with you and it feels good, go with that person. If it doesn't, thank them, and then go and find someone else. And be prepared to spend some money on yourself. Be prepared to invest in yourself and your health and fitness. And like I say, go and get face to face with someone. Sit down with someone and go through it that way.
Yeah, because there's a slight barrier to some people kind of wanting to be able to just sign up anonymously and not have to talk to anyone, go to a gym, kind of be left alone a little bit. We're kind of bombarded with stuff. I think it's slightly turned people off to actually going and talking to people like us. Come down, we're nice people.
Yeah. And then I'd say,
especially Ozzie.
And then I'd say, don't try and change everything at once. Small changes are good. Just be really realistic. Be good to yourself. Be gentle to yourself. Make realistic small changes and build up that way. It's a lifestyle. It has to be viewed as a long-term thing. Yeah. You always,
it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah, you always worry the people that have a wedding they want to get fit for in 3 months. Yeah. It's like, oh God, this guy's going to want to change this, and this, and this. Be patient.
Yeah.
Be patient. Expect it to take a while. But yeah, I'll come back to that point about knowing yourself and having a really kind of understanding of who you are, and not just an understanding, but an acceptance of who you are.
Yeah.
As well. Because like I say,
we're getting deep. No, this is the deep portion.
This is the deep part.
The deep
part. Like I said, people do get preyed on for their insecurities. It's how this industry rolls along, unfortunately. And like I said in my blog, I love this little message, this little picture online, just uncovered somewhere. It says, in a world that profits from your insecurities, loving yourself is a rebellious act, or a paraphrase there, something like that. And it's so true. Because if you
send it to me, and I'll try and put it
that'd be nice.
on the video somewhere.
That'd be good. Yeah, the thumbnail for the video.
Yeah. I'm saying this might not happen. So if you are watching this and it hasn't happened, then
I've been through some shit in the last.
I've seen some shit, man.
And I mean shit. I don't mean like shit. It has been shit, but there's been some shit as well. You know, shit.
Yeah.
In the past kind of
shit. That shit. Oh,
6
mega
to 9 months, and I am on a journey of trying to discover a bit more about myself, know myself a bit better, and accept who I am and the way I am.
As cheesy as it sounds, like soul searching.
Yeah, it does sound. It will sound cheesy, and it will. Some people will just get turned off by this, and some people they'll prick up their ears, and it will mean something to them. But once you begin to understand who you are, and you accept it, and you accept the faults, and you decide to work on them, and you love the rest of you.
Yeah,
it's like you start walking around with this kind of full body armor on, you know, because life will chuck shit at you. People will chuck shit at you, and it's like, poof, bounces off. I know me. I'm happy with me. I know I've got my faults. He's not uncovered anything new about me there. Boom, just bounces straight back off him. Life will take shots at you, and it's like, nah, fuck you. I'm okay here.
Yeah, it's really weird when you kind of start to understand. Like, I'm sure, you know, like I've been through similar processes as well, and I'm sure, you know, some people listen to this that have been through it, and, you know, probably a bit older and wiser than us will probably be like, kids, you got no idea. Yeah. There's more shit coming.
Look at these kids.
Yeah. Totally. But yeah, it's like, I've definitely kind of gone through the same thing, and it does, as you get older, you get just more comfortable in your own skin. That's saying, my parents told me about it, and you kind of like, whatever, and then you kind of get there. But it really does help from especially from a training point of view as well. You change your attitude and your vision of why you're doing things.
We're going wide. We're going wide on the training world, and I think we should do. I think this is a podcast where we get free rein on what we talk about.
Yeah, well, it's nice about
to chat some shit, but
definitely it's about live unbroken. It's not about train unbroken.
That's where I was going, man.
So it's about
that's where I was going.
It's definitely about life. We're highlighting an issue in this small circle, but we'll definitely bounce ideas around that we've had. And I'm sure some of you guys have, and comment and all that kind of stuff, as long as, you know, no haters.
No, definitely not. Yeah. But
we got the armor, so
let's say, mine is like to here. Let's say you don't love yourself, and you have a poor self-perception, which a lot of us do, which is compounded by the fucking shit that gets put out in the magazines in the health and fitness world. The health and fitness industry does nothing to help people who already have a pretty unhealthy self-perception. And that was me. I had a awful kind of, I just didn't value myself. I had an awful kind of self-worth image, if you like. And people start giving you shit, or you get shit from someone, or life chucks shit at you. You're just completely open to that. That all comes in, and you start carrying that around with you. It's like, they've like, that hurts you. Yeah. Because it's like, you already feel bad about yourself, and he's just maybe picked up on that, and it all gets let in, and you start carrying that around you, and it just makes things worse and worse and worse. Whereas,
definitely, like massive baggage.
Yeah. It's just
crazy.
Suddenly, and being in this industry, and when you work with people who are going to put their baggage onto you as well, you become very open to that. So even as a coach, from a professional sense, it is good to be able to have that. For want of a better term, that kind of body armor on, where you're kind of happy with yourself, and you're not going to carry around your client shit and things like that. But that's a slightly different point. So that is definitely a part of becoming what we call unfuckwithable. And I hashtag most of my Instagram pictures with unfuckwithable, because it at the time I am, the kind of stage I am in life and on this journey, it really means something to me. And that's what I'm talking about with it. It's not,
and it's not an aggressive thing. No. It's not like you can't fuck with me. It's more of it's a position of, I'm just doing me. Yeah. I'm doing me so much that I'm just everything else, unless it's positive or helping me in that journey, or and it's and from someone who's made of glass, who's always injured. My hockey team will tell you, they were fucking laying into me in Amsterdam this weekend.
for the amount I'm injured. Like, dude, you're always saying you're unfuckable. Your groin strain, your hamstring's gone, your back's gone. I'm not talking physically, like you say, it's not an aggressive thing. And sometimes it isn't even being strong. It's knowing when to be weak. It's knowing when to say, put my hands up and say, I need some help here.
Yeah.
That's another way that kind of, you're unfuckable. If when you know yourself, you know you're going down a road, you put your hands up and say, fuck, I need a bit of help here.
Yeah.
It's not about always being strong, or I'd say that actually putting your hands up is a sign of strength.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's not just physical, it's definitely this mental thing, this mental kind of position, attitude, perspective on yourself and on the world, and just letting things in and not letting certain things in. And because I'm fortunate enough to hang around with people that are quite enlightened thinkers like yourself and Pricey and people like that.
I have my moments. I'm not very enlightened most of the time, but I have my moments.
Yeah. And
I steal a lot from other people.
And I'm now really, really cautious about what I let in and what I don't let in. And it's more about that. And that is something that's hugely, hugely important to me. And like I said, and the sad thing is, I truly believe that unless it takes someone to get into a place where they are, it's like a tough place.
Yeah. Like
maybe an unhealthy place, like a really tough place to actually have the motivation or inspirational inclination to go, oh, I might need to do a bit of work on myself here.
And I'd say
I deserve to live better than this.
Yeah.
I'm going to change things. I deserve to live better than this. I'm going to go on a journey of self-discovery. I'm going to talk to someone. I'm going to read some stuff. I'm going to do these classes, and I'm actually going to invest some real time in myself and understanding myself and knowing myself. And I think it is a hugely courageous thing. One of the most courageous things and bravest things that I ever did was 7 months ago, deciding that I deserved a bit better than the way I was treating myself. And I ended up stepping away from things that I loved to try and do it. And it's one of the, I view it as, at the time, it was hard, and I've not always viewed it as a brave thing, but now I definitely am at a place where I view that as a brave thing and a really show of strength to decide that actually I'm worth more than the way I'm treating myself and the way I view myself, and then making a decision to go about and actually be proactive and change some things and do some things about that.
Definitely. And that kind of two remarks on that. The first one is that most people that have got any kind of enlightenment or a bit of, wisdom or anything like that, been through that, I would say, once, twice, and maybe going to go through it again. I don't see
many self-aware, self-confident, enlightened people who haven't been through some shit.
Yeah,
for sure.
And there's levels of shit. It's what's personal to you that you go through, that you hold dear, that you find difficult. Everyone's different, and some things that you're like, well, that's not a problem for you is massive for someone else. And I sometimes get I'm a bit guilty of that, kind of just being like, but it's easy, because I've been lucky enough to go through some stuff and come out the other end, and you can get a bit switched off to sometimes what other people are going through, and just being like, that you just got just do this, it's fine. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm able to do that now because I've been through similar positions and things like that. So I think you have to go through that, and that was kind of.
But like you say, there are levels to this. It's not always. It can be as mild as a common cold, where you're just kind of not quite coping with life, and it's time for you to decide that you need to do something about that and that you deserve better. Or it can be severe. You're totally right. There's levels to it, but it's making that decision that actually, like I said, I deserve better than this. I can live slightly better than this. Like, you've got to be good to yourself and know yourself and understand yourself to do that. And a lot of people, a lot of people don't perceive their problems as real problems. Like, these aren't real problems. Like, he's got real problems. That guy over there, like, my problems aren't. Like, I should be able to deal with this, shouldn't I? I can deal with this, can't I? It's like, well, if you're not, then you're not. And that's a problem to you. So face up to that.
And that was the second point I was actually going to make. It reminded me then that if there is an issue or there is something that you're like, fuck, I need to change this. Change it. Like, I see so many, and this is where my desensitization comes in a little bit, because I'm like, if I want to change something, and I've done quite a big change recently, quitting my job to do this full time, not podcasting, well, partly, but coaching stuff. But yeah, had a career, 11-year career that I'm just like, nah, done with that now. Because I wasn't happy and I wanted to make a change. So I made a change, and
that's why it's a show of strength often.
Well,
to make that change.
Yeah, I like to think so. I mean, I certainly think though that if you are unhappy or there is something that you want to change it. And I know that sounds easier than said than done, but sometimes it's not. Sometimes it literally is just figuring out a way. It takes a bit of time. Like can't literally do it the next day, but sometimes it is just about changing it, and you know, bring it back a little bit to the fitness thing. If it is just sitting on the sofa, feeling grotty on a Sunday because you had a bit of a heavy week and you've been out drinking a few times, I should really get in shape. If you want to do it, just do it. And all the things that Ozzie said in terms of go talk to someone about it. Talk to a couple people.
Yeah.
If you're researching, send to check the information they told you with someone else.
But it's so easy it is easy not to.
Yeah.
It is easy just to keep going and not face up to problems or belittle your own problems and just stuff it down, which is why I truly think it is a show of strength to stick your hand up and say, I'm going to make a change, or I need some help, or I need to get an external force from whether it's a personal trainer or a therapist or whatever, to come in here and help me and to say to kind of understand and realize, do you know what? Fuck, I can do better than this. I can live better than this. I can feel better than this, because it's easy just to cruise along and bury things and enjoy good days and then have bad days and be up and down like that, and like I say, just belittle problems. So I do see it as a show of strength and as a difficult thing. I know we're probably slightly different in that sense, because I think you're further along in it than I am, and you do see it as sometimes it's an easy thing, just do it, and you're probably right. But I still see it. I guess I have a big empathy for it, because it took me a long time.
Yeah.
And it took some.
And everyone's different. Like
dark
some people
place.
Respond differently to certain things. I've always been like that. Sometimes a bit too impulsive in that regard. But I hear you, and I think it's good to have. That's why it's cool to have people to talk to about this kind of stuff. You know, if you have microphones and a mixer and some cameras and you can make a podcast out of it, then great. But if not, just talk to people about it and put it out there and ask people questions and stuff. And even just talking about it sometimes can help you get to a resolution where you're like, oh, that's what I need to do. That's totally what I need to do, where I need to go.
I definitely, reach out to someone for sure.
Definitely. Cool. Well, I think that's a cool place to start wrapping.
We didn't do too much funny stuff. We weren't funny. We weren't funny on that one. It was quite deep. And
it was quite deep. I mean, there was some funny stuff. I was going to say we should wrap up with like some kind of
dance.
Q&A.
No, Q&A.
Q&A kind of like.
Not a dance. Dance was a stupid idea.
Q&A. No, I like dance. Anyone that knows me knows I like dance. Normally with a few beers in my hand, but yeah.
They don't stay on your hand for long.
That's true. I like making some shapes. I was thinking maybe we could do like a fun Q&A.
Do it.
Kind of thing.
Hit me.
Hit me.
What are you thinking?
I don't know. I've said this and now I've got like literally mind blank in terms of questions.
We could beatbox.
We could beatbox. Are you any good at beatboxing?
No.
Okay.
No.
Let's not beatbox then.
Yeah, Q&A sounds good.
Okay. So let's keep it CrossFit to start with.
Okay.
Who do you think is going to win the CrossFit Games?
Oh, good question.
I know I'm a bit more into the kind of whole gamesy stuff than you are.
That's more of a good question for you.
Well, I'll answer it as well, but who would you like to win the CrossFit Games, male and female?
Rosie McKenzie. Well, big shout out to Rosie McKenzie. See if Perpetua smashed we won't say the age bracket.
No, because she'll beat us up.
Yes,
she scares me.
She looks 30. Rosie McKenzie. We should actually just use this right now to have a big shout out to some of our Perpetua members. The Masters killed it in the gym.
They absolutely smashed it.
James Rice.
My God. Man, oh man. Yeah. Massive high fives to you.
Ren. Jackie Kennedy.
Yeah.
Like Jasper. All of our, but Rosie in particular.
Putting us young guys to shame.
Yeah.
Massively. Absolutely killing it.
They carried the fight this time.
Smashed the gaff up.
Yeah. No, but I don't know. Well, Noah Olsen won the men's open, didn't he? So obviously he's looking good. Yeah,
he's looking in good shape, both on the scoreboard and physically.
Yeah. Who won the female open?
That's bad. I think it was I should know this because she was working with the guys that do my nutrition, but
Buffbox.
Yeah, my friends at Buffbox. The girl from CrossFit Yaz, I think, won it. I can't remember if she hold on. I'm really sorry. This complete mind blank.
We should know that.
Yeah, we should know that.
We should also do a little shout out to the guys that, because the Open's just finished, and obviously the Open at Perpetua was held on a Saturday, a Super Saturday thing. We should also do a shout out to the guys that helped us out with that. So Sam at Park Road Kitchen. I'll do Sam at Park Road Kitchen. You can do your sister. Is if you don't
that came out completely wrong.
Yeah, you can shout out
to my sister. Yeah, cool.
If you don't know Sam at Park Road Kitchen, get yourself down to.
If you're in the south,
if you're in
southwest London
if you're
area,
in the southwest London area between Battersea and Wandsworth, get yourself down there. It is honestly the best food.
That's what's fueling these bad boys.
Yeah, the best food in London. It's so good. He's an unbelievable bloke. He's
just top bloke.
Yeah, just the loveliest man. He's got a lot of cool things to say for himself as well when you go in there, and he just does amazing food. He keeps it very simple, very humble bloke. But he fueled our athletes for the CrossFit Open this year.
Yeah. If you like rotisserie chicken, there's the bomb.
Yeah, and there's lamb, there's ribs, there's pork belly, there's the deli count. It's incredible. And he's also a client of mine who works his ass off and is making some brilliant changes.
Come a long way. Come a long way. I was lucky enough to sit on some of his PTs with you. Yeah, he's top guy.
Look up Park Road Kitchen is awesome.
Yeah, and then just give a shout out to my sister who does a lot of gluten-free, sugar-free, dairy-free snackage. She's escape_bake online. She's got a blog on Tumblr and a Instagram account. She makes amazing stuff.
They're mind-blowing.
I've been pushing her to kind of start doing more of this stuff because she used to bake for us, and she's got a really cool little story actually, which maybe we'll try and get her down to do a podcast.
Do you know, we should have a podcast with Sam and
that'd be cool. So we'll try and make that happen. But yeah, if you want some inspiration or some recipes to make your own healthy treats that taste as good as real regular sugary stuff without sugar. Yeah, exactly. Satisfy the sweet tooth. Thanks. Then she's a great place to go.
Truly.
And check that stuff out. And she came down for the games as well. And a big shout out to all the coaches as well that, I didn't actually host any, but Ozzie hosted the first one, Mario hosted one, Alexis hosted one.
First one was the best one.
Mike Lee and Stuart all hosted, so nice work to those guys. And Baz, Drabs.
Slight tangent, just going back to the question answer thing for a second.
Sure.
McGregor or Diaz rematch? Ooh.
Oh, that sprung on.
It's a tasty one.
Yeah.
We've got UFC here, by the way.
Yeah. If you're not a fight fan, then this doesn't mean a lot to you. But to be honest, if you have an internet connection and a phone or a laptop, you probably know who Conor McGregor is by now. I'm going to be controversial. I reckon Diaz might do him again.
Oh,
I know, and I'm a massive Conor McGregor fan. This McGregor is no ill will to McGregor.
Over him though, and now he's not going to underestimate any. Okay, so
here's my thing, right? I think if they do it 170 again, because I think they haven't announced it yet, and Conor, I think, wants to do it. From what I'm hearing from the podcast I listen to, that's a clue about who I'm quite a big fan of. But from what I'm hearing, I think they're going to do it at 170 again, and I think Diaz wins at 170. But if he goes to lightweight, if they do this 155, if they do 155, I think Conor takes it.
Can't argue with that.
That's my thinking. But I Conor surprised me before. I didn't think he was going to knock out the Brazilian dude in 13 seconds. Yeah, that was Aldo. Mega. Yeah, Jose Aldo. He knocked him out cold.
He's just a businessman, isn't he? Absolute genius.
And in terms of who I think wins the games, I'll come back to that question just because
you wanted to answer it.
I did want to answer it. I quite like the games.
You're going?
I'm going. Yeah, that's the plan. So I'll be there.
Amazing.
You'll be able to come and tell me whether you like this podcast or not, if you're a fan of CrossFit. I think for the guys, I don't know. I always pick Fraser. I picked Fraser last year and he came second. I think Noah Elson's going to be hard to stop this year. I think it'll be between those two guys and probably Ben Smith. He'll be up there as well. I mean, he's just like...
You've really gone left field there.
I know. I've literally sat on the fence and gone...
1 and 2 from last year and the open winner from this year.
Yeah.
Did not see that coming. Yeah. And the girls?
It's not going to be throning, is it?
The female side?
Female side. I got a bit of a soft spot for Sarah Simmons' daughter, so I'd like to see her win. I reckon she might do it this year. I met Brooke Ent the other week. Not only is she a really cool person, I met her down at Whatever It Takes. Shout out to Whatever It Takes as well, for all your sporting goods. But yeah, she's super cool, and she's on a bit of a charge as well. So I think one of those two girls, just because they're both cool people from what I can see.
Nice. And have you seen Batman vs Superman yet?
I have.
What?
Yeah, I saw it. And you know this. I went to see it on Friday.
You know this. I thought we.
You know this. I've seen this. You don't want this.
I thought we said we were gonna.
Yeah, we can go see it.
Not sure how I feel about that. Don't tell me. Great, thanks. Okay, nice. Anyone who's got a spare evening next week and wants to go to see it with me, I am available. Was it good?
That's a massively long question. There are great bits about it.
Gilesie's a big comic book fan.
I quite like some comic book.
Big comic book fan.
And if you're a comic book fan, it's great from that point of view.
Oh, let's get really self-indulgent here.
It's a sound. Oh, sound mic gone. Damn you.
Oh no.
I know.
No, I think we could be all right.
No, I think we had a gap. I know. I don't think we missed much, but so we'll do a proper sign off now.
We probably just missed the bullshit of us just being self-indulgent about The Walking Dead and comic books. Everyone's like, oh, thank fuck for that.
Yeah, you missed out on some real good chat.
Yeah,
like
we were hilarious just then.
Yeah, you got all the insight.
We were just so funny for about 5 minutes. I promise.
Literally all the humour I have in my body came out then. It was an explosion.
There's nothing
so yeah, just to sign this off, I think we got the shout-outs in there, but just if we didn't, just to reaffirm the shout-outs to our friends at Pyro Kitchen and Sam, just doing a killer job of feeding us all over the open and generally in life, because we spend a lot of time down there.
Going to be opening another one soon in Clapham.
Yeah, which I'm excited about. You know,
Building the empire.
Yeah, Breaking Bad stuff. Escape_bake or Escape Bake, which is my sister, awesome. For all your paleo, gluten-free, dairy-free, sugar-free treats. Check her out on Instagram, Tumblr. And then do
we thank our parents for this? Is that too far?
You can if you want.
Mum and dad.
You're going to send it to your mum and dad?
I'd like to think they see it.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, thanks to our folks. Sure, why not? Bit back to self-indulgence. But also just to thank all of the coaches for over the open. Ozzie and all the guys ran amazing.
That's it.
Amazing Super Saturdays, and I have to say, being on the coaching side of it, I didn't realise how much coaching one morning and then doing one of those and competing and all that kind of stuff takes out of you. So big up to, and I'm sure that all the members here will join me in thanking Ozzie, Mario, Alexis, Mike and Stu for putting it on, Drabs and Baz for helping out, and I have to give out a big shout out to Edgar. Man gets just a hero. Never just man's a fuel bar, does his open workout, get absolutely smashed by 16.5, then comes back and starts making shake for people again.
And also Susanna for the photos.
Susanna, well reminded, and then Hez obviously for doing her usual organising and helping out, and Jasper for keeping us honest with the judging.
And his tactics.
Yeah.
Good man.
But yeah, so there's some shout outs and thanks obviously to Pricey for giving us the space to do all this and helping us with keeping the lights on, helping us with the podcast and like all that good stuff. So the next one will be the big man himself. We'll get that one finally nailed down, shot, edited,
Big Dog's Tale,
and out there.
What's this one going to be called?
What do you want it to be called?
Good question. I will think about that.
We're going to wait until we're going to sit here until you come up with a good name.
You're going to be waiting a long time.
Beatbox therapy.
Yeah, just give it something. Give it a really, really catchy title, really gimmicky, faddy, catchy title like 2-week Beachbody diet or 6-pack in 6 minutes, something like that.
Fitness explained in 55 minutes or however. Yeah. We're just bridged the hour. We've just hit over an hour.
Boom!
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Time now.
Yeah.
We made it. No, I'll think of a catchy title. Leave with me.
Okay, cool. Well, thanks for this, man. I really enjoyed this hour.
Yeah.
It's flown by, isn't it?
Yeah, it's gone really quickly.
Funny, when I did it with Pricey, he's just like, it's like you're in a own little bubble and it just, time flies by.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Well, the man's got an incredible story, so.
Yeah, and man, I'm so pumped to get that one out there. It's, we might have to do a 2-parter just because, every time we've done them, we've done a few of them.
Well, he's got some things to say for himself, hasn't he?
Yeah, and we might do it in 2 parts, but we'll have that coming soon. So look forward to that, and more awesome podcasts coming soon. Thank you very much. My name's Ozzie, and if you're in the area or in the you need a CrossFit gym to come down to, come hit us up.
Come hit me, us,
me,
Perpetua.
Yeah, come hit one of us up, or one of the other awesome coaches here. Come down, do an intro, and
nice one.
take it easy.
Cheers, guys.
Peace.